Okay, so this is going to be my SGDQ 2020 submission for Specter Torment low percent. And I'm going to start the run by putting in this cheat code, and that's because all it does is it changes the color of my armor, which is entirely allowed for speedruns. It's a nice way to add personal flair for the runners throughout their runs. So with that said, time starts when I select yes. That's 3, 2, 1, go. So this is Specter Knight. This is his campaign in the Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, and this was the third DLC to come out for the game. You'll see that Specter Knight controls somewhat like Shovel Knight, jumps around, hacks and slash instead of using a shovel, but he has a much shorter jump. He controls a little bit more like Ninja Gaiden in that regard. He can do wall climbs, wall jumps, dash attacks to enemies so long as he's in the air. And that's going to be super good for movement, not so great for combat. One of the most important things, though, about low percent is that we're obviously trying not to collect anything to add percentage, and that includes these red skulls, which makes it a little bit dangerous to go for tricks like that, because you never know if you accidentally were just going to go flying into an item that you need to quit to title screen to get rid of. That said, I'm pretty confident that I'm not going to end up accidentally collecting a red skull, but it might be a little scary in sketch sometimes. Other things that low percent suggests, yeah, I'm not going to be getting any of the upgrades, no health or armors, no weapons. And apart from the occasional skull getting in the way, this is going to be a very honest clear-through of Specter Knight's campaign. I'd say the hardest thing about this run is going to be health management, because I'll have to know if I want to heal at all, if I want to make sure I survive, because I'm still going to be doing damage boosts. I'll have to know where food's going to be, if anything. And we're now at the first boss, Black Knight. This guy can be pretty irritating when you fight him casually. Luckily, there's a very easy enough to execute stun lock for him. As long as we keep him up on his turtle, we can just keep bashing him into this corner. And ideally, we'll have Terrapin as close to the corner as possible anyway, because when we beat the level, we actually leave the level when Terrapin makes a hole in the wall. So after beating any level, we get this tower hub, and this is where we would be doing like upgrades and purchases and stuff like that for any of the other categories. We don't do that in this category. In fact, I have to consciously remember to avoid grabbing that skull right there, because I have accidentally gotten that. That's another way to really be sad about your run. Beyond that, we get to pick the levels in any order, and sometimes I mistakenly go to a stage for one of the other routes, because I actually run all the different categories for this guy. But luckily, because we are doing them in any order, and it doesn't matter which order we do it in, we're going left to right. It's not just fastest menuing, but conveniently, we get to go to the two more difficult stages of the run immediately. Exploratorium and Lost City. And in this stage, we have to deal with lots of global cycle hazards, but also everything in this stage hurts a lot. So mistakenly, they consider this stage to be sort of a medium difficulty stage, when it's actually one of the way harder stages, in my opinion. Lots of things can go wrong, and I'm gonna have to make very quick reactions to stay alive throughout this level. Because I got hit like that, I have no idea what the global cycle is going to look like, and the global cycle affects the pot lids, the spike pot lids that's going to be in the next room. Sure, that works. More specifically, it's about this room, which I don't want to die in. But it also affects fire traps during the later half of the game, or later half of this level. I'm gonna be safe. There we go. I didn't want to chase after that and end up dying. Specter Knight showing how much he loves sticking to walls. That's a thing that you have to be really conscious of as a runner, is that whenever you're holding a direction against a wall, he starts climbing up it. And that can be extremely annoying and not helpful, and the only ways you can really get around that is by attacking or just not holding a direction. Now we have the first real mini-boss here. This is the Alchemeister, who has more health than an actual boss. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, pretty good kill. That's what I was hoping for. Alright, let's see how we're doing here. I'm probably not gonna... Yeah, that's fine. I should still be able to make it to the boss Plague Knight without having to worry too much. Fit. Okay, we're fine. So, unfortunately, the bosses have a lot of health, and they're also pretty random the longer they go. And because I don't have any good weapons or any ways of really dealing damage, I'm probably going to have to react a lot more to what bosses do in low percent than I would in any other category. That said, I still have enough health. I don't need to heal, even though there's a turkey plate right there. That'd be slow. I'm trying to go at least a little fast. So to know which one the real one is, that one has the blue flasks, and the fake ones will have the purple flask. Ooh, that would have been really good. There's the real one. Over here. Bosses have a sort of desperation move whenever they're at like 4 full hearts or less. Typically they'll try and unleash some last type of attack. So I tried to line it up so that Plague Knight was low on health and in the middle of throwing a bomb animation so I could try and finish him off. So like I mentioned before, this is the other extremely lethal stage in the run, and it is definitely helpful for doing attempts that you get them both out of the way nice and early. Lost City's 2 primary gimmicks are goo, which is just really annoying and it bounces you in all kinds of random directions. And then lava, which is, you know, everyone's favorite. Instant kill. And I have to make sure I don't accidentally get flung into it. Slimes are one of the few actually completely random enemies. So I am a little hesitant to be dealing with them. Looks good. I'm trying to skip having to ride that beetle. And this is also looking pretty good right now. I'm gonna wait a little bit. There we go. Could have gone sooner, but I didn't want to run the risk that I wouldn't have made that jump. I wish I could say everything was all clear from here, but there's a couple more screens that can give me a heart attack later on. Not to mention constantly fighting the urge to pick up skulls for sheer swag. Gonna grab this checkpoint for safety, just because things can get messy otherwise. Those slimes have a history of misbehaving. Hopefully I can get under this guy without taking damage. Nice. Nice. I'm going to try for this once. There's a really specific position I can be in to save a little bit of time by getting past a minion without taking damage. Not easy to do. Ah. Alright, and then there's this crazy trick right here. Good. Okay, I got rid of enough of the blocks. So yeah, you can see why this stage has a reputation for getting people killed. But beyond that, once you're past, things get a lot smoother, thankfully. So, like I said before, dash attack's not the best way of attacking as Specter Knight. However, you can get these nifty little double hits depending on how you manage to attack boss's enemies. 2 hits left, not bad. Oh, there he is. Ooh, okay, he didn't get up. If he did, I barely made it over there in time. All the way on the other side was also kind of really bad luck. But yeah, what I was saying was when you're doing a dash attack, you normally can't hit an enemy until the animation is done. So because of how fast Mole Knight flies, you can kind of stick an attack out, and then you'll do a dash attack to cancel that when he does get in range. So doing double dashes as a means of moving around really quickly or attacking bosses multiple times is going to be very useful later on as well. But for now, we're stuck in this flashback, which is kind of hilarious because for any other category, you would have gotten some upgrades by now, and they would all be taken away in these sections. In these sections, the only things that you can keep are health and darkness upgrades, and we don't get to keep any of those. So this is pretty much standard low percent playstyle anyway. There is a dog we can pet, you know, if I see enough interest from that during a run. Via donations, I would certainly make a small trek out of my way to go and pet the dog. What game is complete without being able to pet a dog nowadays? Anyway, this is the Iron Whale. This is the underwater stage. And this stage is still pretty tricky, nowhere near as lethal as the other stages were, but it's certainly got its quirks about it. Nice. There's another one of those coming up right here. If you mess up either of those, it's not good. Definitely bad news bears. Because of how big Specter's scythe is, we can actually kind of ignore the intended way to clear it through certain rooms. Got it. And we're coming up on the mini-boss Tithalon, which is actually one of the most ridiculous fights that Specter has to do in low percent, and that's because, like I mentioned before, you don't want to be doing dash attacks against most bosses, but this guy is only attackable in the air. And I didn't let that stop me from trying to find a way to one-cycle him, because the other knights could, so I was like, hey, Specter surely has to be able to do a one-cycle on this guy. So the way you normally get a dash reticle to show up is that you have to be at a certain angle to be able to get it. But if you're facing the wrong way, you won't get that reticle. And Specter Knight's Scythe has a little bit of a hitbox behind it, so I'm going to be trying to kind of float back and forth to get its hitbox, to hit this thing, and then do a dash attack afterwards, which looks like that. That's good. Need 2 more. Ah, I couldn't get it. I was off by... yeah, just those 2 hits. 1 more double slash would have done it. Yeah, that's extremely difficult to pull off. And then I'm sure everyone's favorite mini-boss slash creature during their casual playthrough is in this next room right here. This is called the Lunkaroth. I always call her Bertha. She's a sweet gal. She just, you know, really wants to give you a big ol' smooch for half your life. And there's no real way of killing her. Ow. So yeah, she can easily just completely destroy you. You know, I love this guy though. He just kind of backs off if you stare at him. Okay, I do barely have enough health to feel comfortable about this fight. Not going for that though, that's for sure. If I'd screwed up catching that rocket, I would have died. Yeah, but this is just barely enough health to be able to face off against Treasure Knight comfortably. This is fine. Less fine. Because his attacks deal so much damage. When I saw the first 2 hits, I was like, oh, great, this went from being a potentially damageless fight to, sure, I'm gonna take damage at every possible moment. No problem. It's okay, second time, easy every time. Excuse me? Why did you go this way? Sure. No problem, treasure. You can manipulate his position with your own, but I guess I was a little too far to the right for that one. So after beating 4 of the Order of No Quarter stages, we get our first visitor in the tower, who scares our mirror lackey off. Poor Dark Acolyte, I will miss him. Now instead we have to deal with this guy, who is an absolute jerk. Oof, okay. I didn't want him to teleport away one more time. So I managed to save a little bit of time there. He was kind of getting away from me. So he's going to be our new mirror guy. I'm sure he'll do a great job keeping watch over the mirror. In the meantime, we're going to Flying Machine. And this stage is kind of funny because for most people who run any percent, you go to this level first. So for people who are, you know, like, oh, I wanna go from any percent, like learn low percent. It's always really funny because they don't have any difficulty learning this stage. All the other stages will trip up runners all day. But because you already go to this one in any percent without any upgrades, it's like, oh hey, something I'm finally used to. That's it. I have to make sure that I do not, for any reason, grab any of the skulls, because that's a very strong instinct right now. It's something that I'm so used to doing in every other category. I didn't want to slip off there. That's fine. Nice. Made up for it just fine. That was interesting as well. That was actually faster than what I was going to do. That was pretty cool. Finally, a little bit of a breathing space. Nice auto-scroller to kind of chill out and relax in. I say that, but everyone knows me for just doing non-stop swag and auto-scrollers. Because what would a auto-scroller be if I didn't just risk my life every 2 seconds? I really want to get that skull, but I have to make sure I don't. Oh no! Darn. I slipped. So, low percent's one of the few categories in this game at all, for any character, where you can actually save time with a death. That is only because there's a checkpoint at the end of that auto-scroller, and as soon as you grab the checkpoint, if you die, it just immediately ends the auto-scroller, which just barely saves any time at all. It's also convenient because this stage would have global cycles otherwise, but we kind of don't need to worry about it too much. Jawas are kind of terrifying though, and they do need to cooperate so you can get this cycle. Nice. That was a pretty good flying machine. I say, and I haven't finished the stage, and those rats could have gotten me too. So Propeller Knight's going to show off a nice little fact about the game where if you are attacking an enemy in this game, their hitbox is temporarily disabled. So we can stay right on top of enemies, which is a really nice feature for incentivizing players to be aggressive. Nice, good fight, perfect. We are halfway there. We just have one of the worst bosses to deal with right now. So the Shard is already a pretty difficult and dangerous level, but it doesn't help that we have Phantom Striker. All the bosses for Specter Knight's campaign were essentially very slight remixes of the ones that were found in Shovel Knight's and Plague Knight's campaigns. And I love this room real quick. Hold on. There we go. Nice. Because Specter Knight is the boss that you would normally fight in Blitzjar, we're not going to be fighting Specter Knight here. Instead, we're going to be fighting the Phantom Striker, who is himself, he's a wandering traveler, one of the backer characters for when this game was in Kickstarter. And he's a boss fight in Shovel and Plague's campaign too. But the difference here is that now that he's a boss and they kind of tuned all the boss's abilities around Specter Knight, it turns out that Phantom Striker's specialty is being incredibly annoying and difficult to deal with. Nice. This is a really slick stage. I do love the movement in it. But yeah, Phantom Striker deals a lot of damage and loves to be invincible or teleporting around for a very long time, which can make fighting this guy an absolute nightmare in low percent. So we'll see how well I do. Surely nothing will go wrong. I'm on 2 hearts, right? Well, I was on 2 hearts. Now, technically, I could fight him at this amount of health, but I'm gonna go ahead and be smart. I'll make sure I heal. And not just because I died to treasure. This fight can genuinely get out of your hands pretty quickly. Ah, I missed the chance to kill him before that last teleport, but that's fine. I just accidentally got a dash attack, which is okay. And I was trying to use my... I was trying to manipulate where his balls fly around at. The electric balls deal full-hearted damage, and they're really tricky to avoid when 4 of them are flying at you, and I'd rather be dealing damage to Phantom Striker, so, you know, those are always super fun to deal with. So we got another little flashback sequence, and we're hoping that Luan, our partner here, did not skip leg day. Go, Luan, go. Go, Luan, go. Okay, he's going. Cool. He has a completely random chance to just stop and back up for no reason. And I wish we knew why. Okay, that works. I would rather have Caltrops for the last portion of this stage where I'm doing the boss battle. Just wanted to make sure I could save as much as I could. Yo, nice, I got that. Okay, that one was for Jimmy, who found that super awesome, very fun to do trick. Totally loved nailing that one. Alright, so here's Shield Knight. She's really annoying. She obviously is guarded by this very giant shield on front of her. And I am currently not doing a very good job of dealing with her. And I just need one more hit without her blocking everything I do. That'd be great. Love it, Shield Knight. Thank you. Yeah, that one Caltrop that I would love to hang on to. Sometimes she'll drop magic and you'll get to pick it up, but it's not super consistent if you get magic from her, or if you can even pick it up. One more attack would have been enough to have saved me from bouncing around on her shield for no reason. So Clockwork Tower is a stage. It's a stage in this video game, and it definitely makes me incredibly sad. This stage, again, for safety's sake, I'm going to grab checkpoints, but normally would not be something. Ha 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 ha. Movement is very precise, and it's either do or die. But yeah, I'm going to make sure I grab a specific checkpoint just to be safe, but I'm also going to make sure I heal up at least once throughout the level, because there's a lot of damage boosts that you can do in this level that are super great for saving time. Now, while it is just barely possible to skip one of the cycles on this upcoming Crusher, it's also incredibly dumb, and I sure don't want to go for something like that in the marathon. It's just barely possible, and no one has ever gotten it in a run and lived to tell the tale. Even though it looked like I could have gone past that, very few people have done so successfully. However, later on, don't worry, if you really love me living life on the edge, you'll get plenty of that in the second to last level. Ow. I'm going to heal up later because I still have plenty more damage that I can take, and I'd rather get all my healing done in one shot. Other than that, we have auto-scrollers, so this would be a great time to read off donations. Oh yes, also don't get that skull. Remember, if I grab those, that's bad for me. And I've already used my one death on the first half of the run, or first half of this stage. Alright, so that checkpoint is completely for safety. You normally would never go out of your way to get it. And you would normally be fighting Tinker Knight on 1 heart and a half, which is not super fun. In fact, I'm going to grab this health because the other one is kind of more obnoxiously out of the way. Having 3 health is totally fine. No big deal. now we have a second auto-scroller, because why not? But beyond that, I actually do enjoy these auto-scrollers. They're not the worst thing ever. It's a nice break. Good way to kind of chill out a little bit. I will, however, take a moment to explain. Tinker Knight is actually one of the more difficult fights for Specter Knight, especially in low percent, and that's because, unlike Shovel and Plague, Tinker deals a lot of damage. He was supposed to be kind of a joke in the first half, and it turns out that is like super difficult to deal with in this campaign, because they were like, hey, you know, it'd be really funny if instead of being an absolute pushover, he was an absolute nightmare. And they sure did that. I'm gonna try and not get hugged by spikes, because he thinks spikes are fun, and I don't. Okay, no problem. Oh my god, the wall broke. Wow, that's never happened before. Oh, that's a huge problem. Ha ha ha! We're fine. Okay, I made it back up. That was actually not intentional, unlike the wall breaking apart. Right on time. I do love Baz. I'm so glad that he spent the time to be here. And now he's gone. So, 2 more levels to go. We have Pridemoor Keep and Stranded Ship, and in this level, our lovely adventurer throws us into this super merry, totally not life-threatening I have to be extremely careful not to take too much damage once again, because there are plenty of damage boosts that I can do, and I would not only rather not heal before King, but also I won't have much of a choice. There's not a lot of food around King. That said, one of the funniest things about low percent is that this room has an enemy that's extremely hard to get by, so we always call him Paul Blart, Mall Cop Security, but he's a cakewalk in low percent. And I don't need to hit that book twice. Ah, I didn't make it. Okay. That's fine, I'm just gonna do this. Okay, we're completely okay. No problem. I'll be able to heal in just a second. That food would have been slow to get. I know where there's faster food. Just beyond all these hazards. I mean, provided that it is food, not a bomb. Who would put a bomb under a dinner plate? Who would do that? That's okay, I know where there's guaranteed food. There we go. Sure, this is not the typical movement that you want to see in this room. Ironically, I think my health is actually where it would be normally, which is not very comforting. Alright, I'm gonna go for good rat RNG. No, I'm not going to go for good rat RNG, because I didn't make it up over that ledge. That's fine. Okay. So hopefully I can make it past this griffin without taking any damage. That's the important part. Ow. I lied. Okay, so King Knight is more than likely going to kill me, because doing damageless King Knight is not something you ever realistically want to say you go for. Although dying like that was pretty great. King Knight's super random, but not in the first half. In the first half of the fight, it should be pretty much under control. Sure, okay. Ooh, that's not good. Could you please get out of the sky? Could you please get out of the sky? Dang, couldn't even take his crown with us. Just a skippable cutscene. If you were concerned about the lore, oh, I guess I'll have about 30 seconds to explain the lore because I went right back to Pridemore. Fun. Anyway, so Specter's journey here is to recruit 8 knights into the Order of No Quarter. This is the prequel for Shovel Knight. And we have recruited so far 6 knights. The only one we didn't recruit was Phantom Striker. A little bit of a problem when filling up the Enchantress's ranks, so we're heading straight to the ship to try and get at least a 7th one. Surely not having 8 would be totally fine by her. I mean, 8, 7? What's the big difference? Oh boy, I hope that this doesn't... There's a really annoying glitch that can happen here. Oh, hey. Didn't happen. Cool. I'll have to look into what causes that. Good. So the mini-boss for this stage is called the Hurlsvulgar, which is a lovely mouthful to say. It is essentially the rainbow barf statues in the form of a mini-boss. Oops. That's also not good. I need you to... Thank you. Perfect. Gonna grab that just for safety. There's a couple of not-so-great rooms coming up. Right. Oh, that skull down there is super awesome. I totally have never accidentally picked that one up, too. I love that glitch. Nice random double hits from a single attack. So Polar Knight's kind of not that terrifying of a boss to have to deal with, thankfully. I know a lot of people don't really appreciate instant kill spikes. They're thankfully nowhere near as bad as one might assume. Hopefully I can get past this guy without taking any damage. Yo, nice! That is extremely hard to do. Oh, the rails. How I wish I could be grinding. Any percent picks up an armor that just lets you do that from the very beginning. it's time for some mad strats where we just hold our ground and just keep attacking him. Alright, that wasn't too bad there. So that thankfully rounds up the order stages where we fight a knight at the end of every stage. Now we're just doing what is effectively Wily Castle. So we have 2 more levels to go. And the first level we're doing is really, really brutal. It's got a lot of hazards that are meant to make you suffer because we can pick any stage in any order, and so the difficulty scaling is like, well, you've beaten them all now, so you should be fully trained and well aware of what's coming. Like I mentioned before, if you enjoy the sound of me screaming, there is a trick that is incredibly terrifying. I mentioned there being a crusher skip before. And I briefly forgot what I was doing there, so I'm going to make sure I don't get myself killed. Oh, well, I guess I'm going through the room this way. Okay. Anyway, so there's a section coming up with a bunch of crushing blocks, and I know everyone loves sections like that in video games. There is a way to go through it really fast. And I'm going to be trying to. I can't save any time on this first part, so it doesn't really matter that I took that hit there. You can't possibly beat this. However, on this next section, I'm going to be trying really hard. And it's gonna look super tight from start to finish. I go really fast right now. I can't possibly waste time. You're gonna see how close that is in a second. Please, 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 please. So close. That is a very fun way to lose a run, you know, at the end of the game. Okay, I won't go for it twice because it is extremely hard to do, and it obviously wastes a lot of time going for it. But you get the picture, and that's definitely a thing that I was really sad when I was like, oh, hey, I found out this is possible. Hooray. Making it past those 2 guys without taking damage is actually really good. I'm glad that I managed to do that. Alright, let's see if I can get this trick. God, I actually managed to do that. 1 for 2 is not too bad on tricks. That's not good. I didn't mean to do that. That's fine, though. Okay. And now we just get to chill in this auto-scroller. So, if you loved Black Knight the first time, he does come back, and that will be the boss for this stage. And unlike the first time around, we don't have a very nifty stun lock. We unfortunately have to do something very annoying and difficult at the start of the fight to get him off of Terror Pin. And then we still have to deal with him being on the ground, which he'll dodge every 3 attacks. So I have to keep that in mind as I try and stun lock him, with only 4 health. Ah, that was unfortunate. I could have killed him, but Black Knight, as if fighting him with Terrapin flying around the room isn't fun enough, Black Knight will teleport to Terrapin upon reaching half a heart of HP. Just in case you really needed it to be, you know, that much more sure that you weren't going to win. So we do have the last 2 boss fights coming up. We have one more stage that kind of is just like an elevator ride up to them. And there's not much to say during this rise upwards. Just kind of chilling forebodingly. The Enchantress fight, though, I will say is extremely difficult, low percent wise. She loves to be high up in the air, and there's nothing you can really jump off of to reach her, so they intend for you to have to deal with her. That's unfortunately not what I want to do, so I'm going to try and chase her down, no matter where she is. As far as the actual last boss goes, Nightmare Reese, he is also extremely difficult because the fight himself actually kind of consistent, but there are rails that you're grinding on for that last fight, and those are actually completely random. So I'm going to be safe and grab that checkpoint, and then let's see what kind of fight I can get. This is super unfortunate. I can probably still make this fight work, though. Okay, I have to kind of chill over here to give myself something to stand on in a second. That's not good. Okay, she's going to the left. I have to come over here. And I get some double hits on her. I did that way too early, so I was really, really low. Alright, let's try the beginning again. I should be able to chase her down a little bit more effectively. There we go. Unfortunately, I won't be able to get all the hits on her that I wanted to. Her dives are completely random as well, as if we needed more help on this fight. Well, she has certainly taken barely any damage this time. Enchantress is also a very fun fight. That's super annoying. Okay, so long as I keep at least one heart, this is fine. That's fine. Moneybags in the way kind of make the beginning of the fight way harder to set up. But now that they're up in the sky, hopefully I'll be able to do the beginning right. Never mind, I'm bad at video games. Okay, Ultimate Contingency Pan, number 500. We're totally going to nail it this time. This is fine. Although I do have to very quickly try and get over here. Okay. Good. Much better. Okay. Now we can kill her. Good. What a lovely example of how awesome that fight is. So time will be coming up soon, thankfully. You can see these rails are kind of nowhere near his face where I need them to be. That's fine, I guess. Trying to stack as much damage as possible. Ooh, that was really good. Finally a rail by his face. Okay, now hopefully I'll be able to get just enough damage on these last couple rails that I can skip a phase. Come on. Nope. And I don't get any damage. Surviving is half the battle. Alright. Ow. Okay, and then time. That could have been worse. Ha ha ha! I'll take a first try last boss at least. Enchantress being completely butts is not a surprise. But yeah, that is Specter of Torment low percent, and that is an extremely difficult category to be able to finish within reason. So thank you all for watching.